What's good? Another uncut entry. Let's do a little. What did I do this week? I've completed the first Forge Denim Jacket order of 2026. And what else is there? I actually did a extras gig, and it was for a music video for Duran Duran. And I've touched 59 kg to this week. That's my lightest weight in the last 12 years. And that's what I have going so far this week. Oh, and I also just continued marketing, posting 8 times a week. I'm slowly getting the hang of just, being able to push out 8 pieces of videos or reels every day, just ramping it up. I'm seeing, like I said on the previous entry, I'm seeing the growth. People are following, people are engaging and whatnot. This girl, yeah. Ew. Gross. Go. What else is there? Yeah, just been focusing on finishing the Forge Denim Jacket. It took quite a bit. Like, I expected to do it within, 2 weeks, 2 working weeks, so not including the weekend. But it took slightly over. I think it's just under 3 weeks. So I might have to readjust the timings for that. But that's just because I had to redraft the pattern, and that added a couple of days. So I think now that I have the pattern drafted up, it will be a lot quicker for me to sort out the next type of orders. But what I need to do now is get the patterns for a resized so that it's ready. So I would have to do that on Clo 3D. So not redraft, but trace over the current draft pattern for the Forge Denim, and then take it into Clo 3D and then size it up and size it down depending. What I currently have is size small, so I would need a medium, a large, and an extra large. And what else? In terms of in terms of the actual Forged Denim Jacket construction, it's not as perfect as I want it to. I mean, this is my 3rd time sewing the Forged Denim Jacket, using 14-ounce denim. And honestly, this is the first time sewing together the Forged Denim Jacket with the flat felled seam construction. I made some errors here and there, minor, nothing too crazy that it completely changes how the jacket functions. But doing this made me realize that yes, there are fit issues more on the minor side that I'd like to iron out. So I've taken photos of those so that, and then actually I need to make a note of it or start making note of it on Notion, just attaching the images just to know which areas to, fix on the next one that I do. But yeah, it's honestly just refinement at this stage for the Forge Denim Jacket, since I have the everything pretty much done. And I'm also thinking of, releasing a sleeveless version as soon as possible. Might even be next month, because it's gonna be February soon, in a couple of days, and I've sort of made a goal to push out a product a month, and then just see how it goes from there, and then just build out sort of the core collection for POG. And what else? I actually still need to sort out how I'll be packaging these items, because for the first sale that I did, I'm gonna be hand delivering that. So I've got myself like a carrier bag, like a clothing dust thing. It's actually behind me. And then I'm just gonna screen print that and then hand deliver it as is. But I'm thinking of other ways to package it, especially when it's not being hand delivered, of course. So I've done boxes before and whatnot, but I'm just trying to see if I can improve on how I packaged my previous products for my other brand back then. But yeah, no biggie. It's not. I'm not getting crazy orders. Like literally, I've just got one order so far, so I have plenty of time to sort of figure that out. What else in terms of POG? Yeah, nothing. Can't think of anything else. For Pioneers of Greatness. Shh. This girl, she's in her heat. Hmm. Hmm. Bro, I'm blank. My mind is blank. Yeah, I can't think of anything else for POG, but in terms of fitness, I've touched 59 kg. I haven't been 59 kg in maybe over 12 years. I was fairly skinny back then before I started, lifting weights back in 2015. That's when I started lifting weights. So before that, I was like 55 kg. And then within a span of, a year from 2015 to 2016, I sort of did a dirty bulk where I went up to like 70 kg, thinking that most of that was muscle, but 10 years later, or 10 plus years later, now taking, going to the gym seriously and keeping track of my calories, making sure I hit my protein intake, and then cutting for the last 8 months, cutting weight, like basically getting my body fat percentage as low as I can. Because last June, I was like 68 kg, now I'm 59. So almost like 10 kg that I've, dropped in. It's mostly fat, body fat. But what I found out is when you do drop body fat and you're in a caloric deficit, you also lose some muscle mass. So I must have lost, maybe 1 kilogram around that, on top of, the fat, the body fat. And what I realized is I didn't actually put that much muscle back then when I did a dirty bulk, because I weighed in 55 kg, right? Before starting lifting weights over 10 years ago. And now that I've cut to 59 kg, it seems like I've only really just put on 3 kg of muscle mass, and then perhaps like 1 kg of, yeah, no, 3 kg of muscle mass for that whole year that I did that dirty bulk a decade ago. So then now I'm doing things properly, and I basically got myself, back to a clean slate. And then from there, I can start doing, my Project Beast mode. And Project Beast mode is basically just going on a lean bulk, and then basically just changing my body and putting on 6 kilograms of muscle mass in the next year or two. And it takes a while for you to actually put on muscle. And the way I want to do it is to stay relatively lean. Like I don't want to bulk up and gain fat. I want to keep the fat as minimal as possible, and then, maximize the amount of muscle that I put on. Because man, I got lean. I like how I look lean, and I'm not going back to whatever I had back then when I was like 68 kg. 68, 70. And then around 65 kg, that's where, I'm fairly light on my feet, not too heavy, not too light, because I want to have this athletic physique, and also not just the physique but the actual, my stamina to be good, my strength to be good, basically overall be balanced. And I think, 65 kg should be around that area, like a good weight for me to be at. So there's that for me to, look forward to. And then basically once I achieve that, to just maintain it, and then sort of fluctuate from being super lean in the summer, and then just, putting on putting on basically the whole idea is once I've reached that target 65 kg, I would every summer I would make sure that my body fat is single digits, to have that summer look, and just be, fucking shredded. And then when it comes to the winter, just float around, 15% body fat, or between 10 to 15, and then just, fluctuate between that and single digit depending on the season. And then that will just, and that doing that requires discipline, and I like this whole this disciplined lifestyle, not indulging too much on the good stuff, but then not depriving yourself of the good stuff. I got a sweet tooth, so for me, I can't fully like remove having, sugars in my diet completely. But yeah, and that goes hand in hand with pioneers of greatness too. Like if I'm building pioneers of greatness, especially the way I train, I incorporate boxing a lot, and obviously I'm trying to build the Ralph Lauren of boxing with pioneers of greatness. That has always been the goal for me, and not just create a boxing brand, a boxing fashion brand. Not like an Everlast, not like a Box Row, but full on what Ralph Lauren did with polo. I will do the same, if not better, with boxing. Especially someone who's a big fan of boxing, and that's the community I want to uplift. That's why, for me, I want to live the lifestyle of a boxer. Not so much of, back then I wanted to, compete in amateurs in box, but then because I have injuries on my AC, on my knee, on my right knee, torn ACL, can't really pursue that. So the next best thing is to just train and have boxing in my arsenal. So weightlifting, boxing, hitting the heavy bags, sparring on occasions, but living that, boxer lifestyle, disciplined mentality. And I think this is just sort of how I would like to build out my lifestyle, having that athletic sort of mindset of a boxer, a lifestyle of a boxer, and then you have that artistic mind of, a brand builder, a designer, an artist, and then, building pioneers of greatness, being hands-on. And yeah, just I'm at that phase where I'm really able, because I've stripped myself down to the very core, that I can build out how I want my life to be, and I'm starting to realize, yeah, I want to be able to train and have my fitness, in check, and then I want to be able to be building my business, pioneers of greatness, and also, somewhat being active and pushing, uplifting, boxing through that, through POG, and obviously everything else in between. But yeah, it's an exciting time to be living. At least this is like, for me, is an exciting period in my life where things are slowly going my way, and I can't wait to just have everything on lock, everything secured. Fitness, business, finance, relationship, boom, boom, boom. And yeah, I think, like I said, I did these extras gig. I think those are actually quite good experiences for me, because the one that I did this week, I was in this music video, and then there was other extras. I don't I'm not really one to, start socializing or anything, but just being there, people people will just socialize with you. I mean, perhaps because I'm just there standing quiet, I'm just focusing on what I need to do. I don't know, sometimes I guess that grabs people's attention, and then they start trying to make convo with me. But then through that, I met some cool people, you know, within the creative space. And I think it's a great way for me to network, you know, with other creatives. For me, I love, you know, being able to network with creatives offline or online. More online because that's more of my domain. I'm never really outside to be doing offline networking. Only if I'm, you know, doing these extras gigs or whatnot. But yeah, that's what I have going this week so far. Yeah, it's getting a little bit long. I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm out. Fuck, I'm stuck. That's it from me. I'm out.